Welcome to the ADX podcast. We're here today in the ADX market based in Abuظbي. Thank you, Karim Sabbagh, Managing Director of Space42, for joining us today. Could you please tell us a little bit about Space42 and the vision behind the merger between Bayanat and Yahsat?
First, thank you for having me. Delighted to be visiting the ADX marketplace. The happening of Space42, I would describe it as a function of three important developments. The first one is the goal to bring together under one company three distinct capabilities in the space industry. One part that deals with satellite communication, which is the forte of Yahsat. The other part deals with Earth observation and geospatial analytics, which is the heart and core of Bayanat. And the third part, which arguably is the new factor in the equation, and certainly a new factor in the space industry, is AI. And the opportunity before us today is to bring these three pieces together. The second axis of our thinking is that in the merger of Bayanat and Yahsat, which will produce Space42, we have the firm conviction that we will create an entity that as a whole will be in fact bigger than the sum of the parts, which is exactly your objective whenever you want to do a merger. And last but not least, we firmly believe that the creation of Space42 and bringing these three capabilities together will allow us to benefit and in fact contribute or influence three areas of convergence in our industry. First, the convergence of use cases. Our thesis being that in the not so distant future, the same end users, but also clients who are providing these services to end users will require communication capabilities and geospatial analytic capabilities as part of a common or integrated application. For example, a connected car. A car requires at any given point in time proper geolocation and the underlying analytics, but the car ought to be connected at any given point in time. And so this is the convergence of use cases. The other part that sort of underwrites our thinking is the convergence of technologies, i.e. when you start thinking about the design of these technologies, the productization, the manufacturing, the deployment, and the delivery of the underlying services, the fact that they sort of are tapping into common elements in the technology stack, and our ability to bring all of them as part of a single conversation, a single strategy, a single thought process for capital deployment will make this very compelling. And last but not least, there is going to be a convergence of operations, i.e. once we have these capabilities, our engagement model in the marketplace, being that sort of go-to capability that can offer holistically these services, I think will matter a lot. And the coming together of Bayanat and Yahsat and the creation of Space42 will be able to tap with all of these unique traits that will differentiate us in the marketplace.
That's great. That's fascinating. So before we continue with Bayanat and Yahsat and Space42, a little bit about your personal background. You were educated both in science and technology on the one hand and business on the other. You worked at Booz as a consultant, a senior partner, working with SATCOM companies globally. And then most recently you were CEO of SES, a giant, if you will, with over 2 billion euros annually in revenue. What was so exciting for you at Space42 that was the next move for you?
My interest all along, that dates back literally to a different century, has been the understanding as well as the contribution to the development of technology that has the highest impact on economies and society. So it's not technology for the sake of technology, but how can we bring it to bear that this technology, whether it's communication, it's media, it's digitization, and now artificial intelligence, how these technologies can really make a difference in improving our societies and economies at the level of the nation, the city, the business, the family, the household, or the individual. So this has always been my personal interest, and hence my vocation as a professional, my interest as a professional. And so you fast forward and you get the opportunity with Space42 not only to work at the leading edge of space technology per se, but you get the opportunity also now to bring into the equation artificial intelligence. And then when you put space and artificial intelligence in the same equation, you now create the dynamics for the space industry that we're sort of addressing to sort of explore new boundaries in terms of new product and services that now we can offer to address existing problems better, or in fact now to start addressing problems that probably have existed but for which we didn't have the most efficient answers. And so my interest with Space42 is this is a unique opportunity for me, as well as for the 700 or so colleagues who are part of the Space42 community, now to sort of push the boundaries of what we can offer based on space-based technologies for applications that we're going to deploy on Earth, with the benefit also of infusing this with artificial intelligence.
Fascinating. So maybe we can dig a bit deeper when we're talking about the strengths and the unique capabilities of Bayanat and Yahsat. You're creating sort of a new conduit whereby other firms can provide solutions, unique solutions. And could you gaze into your crystal ball and give us an idea of what such a solution might be?
Let's start by anchoring the capability of Yahsat and Bayanat, the resulting capabilities that Space42 will bring, and then we can tap into two, I think, relevant examples of where we can create this unique differentiation. Bayanat is a very interesting company with formidable capabilities. They are, if I want to qualify them in the arena of Earth observation. So I can observe from Earth points on Earth, so from space points on Earth, for the purpose of baselining, so describing what is happening, what is the current status, but also start using this information to provide interpretations and also possibly predictions. And this is quite relevant in a number of fields. Case in point, anything that deals with the environment. And so Bayanat has this capability today and has also the benefit of having had early on the ability to integrate this data that benefits from information coming from space, but also coming from aerial assets, as well as ground-based assets. So anything that deals with land-based sensing, and fuse it with artificial intelligence to improve the quality of analysis, interpretations, and possibly prediction. So that's what really Bayanat does, and they do it in a very differentiated manner. And they're formidably well positioned against industries that I would qualify as present time industries, whether you think about telecommunication, critical infrastructure, transport, asset tracking, but also, and most interestingly, enabling the industries of the future. So navigation system of any autonomous platforms going forward. So that's Bayanat. When you come to Yahsat, Yahsat brings to the table a what I would qualify as a global business in the satellite communication arena. So in the same way that you and I experience communication, we take any device that is accessible to us, whether it's our computer or phone, and we're able to communicate with someone else or with some other point on Earth. at any given point in time in a seamless manner. You can think about a comparable service offering, except that now the network is not based on the ground, it's based in space. And the beauty about Yahsat, it's truly global. So currently they have 5 assets in the geostationary orbit, so at 36,000 kilometers. And they have 3 additional spacecraft or satellites under construction that will be deployed in 2024, 2027, and 2028. And when you think that with every geostationary satellites, you can have visibility over almost 1/3 of Earth, you can sort of step back and say, well, with 8 spacecrafts, I pretty much have a global footprint. And the answer is yes. I would even posit that thanks to Yahsat's network, the UAE is bigger in Earth than it is on the ground. And then we have now this third factor in the equation, which is artificial intelligence, which is an emerging field, emerging very rapidly, whether it's in our industry or other industries, and where Bayanat has built now some very sort of formidable capabilities with a proven track record. And when you bring them together, it gives you now a formula to innovate, i.e. to be able to bring product and services that can solve or address existing problems more efficiently, or in fact to address new problems, 1. And 2, you have the ability now to address them not just within a certain geographic footprint, whether it's the UAE or the Gulf region or the MENA region, but to scale them or hyperscale them rapidly. 2 concrete examples. When you consider the business of Thuraya today, which is, it's described in the industry as mobile satellite services. So effectively, through our satellites, you can communicate through a bespoke device with any network on Earth. So that's communication of a satellite directly to a device, but that device is a customized device that can connect to this spacecraft or to a network in space. So the problem set that we need to provide ubiquitous connectivity anywhere on Earth has always existed since the first communication network that was introduced, terrestrial. And even in the most advanced countries in the world, you still have, as you move from point A to point B, from city to rural, from city to some national park, you still face, unfortunately, the impediment or the reality that you don't have continuous network. And so the challenge before us now, how can I take now this value proposition of connecting on any point on Earth, being able to provide this communication, not just on a bespoke device, but on any device, whether it's an iOS device or it's an Android device. And that is a system that we're currently studying and designing with the aspiration that over the next few years, we will be part of a global solution. We will be enabling a global solution as Space42 that will provide this direct-to-device to everyday devices that people carry with them, or any antenna or device that is being deployed in the domain of Internet of Things. And so you suddenly have a paradigm shift from addressing a very finite market, a small market, that is an important one, to now bringing this same service offering to a much larger market without the entry barriers of bespoke devices, but talking to everyday's devices with a far better performing system that provides voice, messaging, and data. And now moving from a user base of few 100,000 customers to billions of customers. And so that paradigm shift is fascinating. And Yahsat in the middle of this, and Space42, as sort of being the home of Yahsat and Bayanat, will be a central player or contributor to this system at a global scale in the coming years. That's fascinating.
So just so I understand, to the layman such as myself, are you saying that the future might hold for global travelers such as us, being able to communicate without roaming charges? Just say yes.
That is going to be, so the short answer is you will be able to roam seamlessly. You should be able to roam within the same economics that you are roaming today. So you don't have to worry, oh, this network is more expensive than that network.
It's about ease of use.
Ease of use. It has to be a seamless continuous. And two, you should be able to do this within the same economic model that you are working with today.
Cost, but much higher. Sir,
that's certainly the objective we set to ourselves, because again, our innovation model is twofold. Can you deliver a better service more efficiently? One, and efficiently means seamless to the end user, but economically also. So these go together in the same between bracket of the definition of efficiency. And two, can you hyperscale? Because that's really what you want to do. On December 19th, when we announced the merger, it was there in the headline that Space42 will be a space and AI-enabled company with global reach. So global reach was part of our DNA, part of our aspiration. And so that hyperscaling really matters to us. So your example does a better job than I'm trying to do in bringing to life our value proposition. Another interesting example would be our GIQ platform. So GIQ is a platform that Bayanat has developed, in fact, in collaboration with the UAE Space Agency, that collects information and data from different platforms in space, possibly aerial platform, so drones, hubs, or anything that doesn't have to be in space but lower, or terrestrial, so sensing through land surveys that are conducted once a year or every 2 or 3 years. But the point is, you're taking this information and then you bring it into a single platform that has then developed different AI-enabled models to solve or address specific questions. Some questions may be related to agriculture, others to transport, others to unfortunate natural events like a flood or an earthquake. So an earthquake happens. We never want these things to happen, but they happen. And so the first thing you want to know is, what is the extent of the damage in general? What areas were affected the most? What are the access routes that I can have so I can optimize sending support teams? If I want to think about reconstructions, how can I quickly develop a baseline of what existed, what is on the ground today, and through intelligent model, start developing estimates of the kind of funding. So you can start thinking about the different applications of Earth observation, geospatial analytics, and other models that go into economics, logistics, etc., etc. GIQ platform that sort of is meant to host the information and the different problem sets and models that will help resolve this. And our aspiration now is, how do you scale this to become a platform not just for problem sets that are specific to the UAE or to the region, but it becomes a global part of a global marketplace. So again, we go back to the same sort of principles. Innovate for the purpose of providing a better value proposition that improves ultimately the end user experience or solves the problem, does it more cost efficiently, and can hyperscale. I hope I've answered your question.
You certainly have. So just taking a look from the investor point of view, the investors of Bayanat and Yahsat will become the investors of Space42. For new investors, is what you're saying that Space42 is more than 1 and 1 equals 2?
That's our objective. To put it in sort of strategic terms, our goal is that the whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. And so the benefit and the opportunity for Bayanat and Yahsat investors as well as new investors are threefold. First, they get to participate in the field of space, which is an exciting field. space is, I always described it, space is beyond frontiers. So the only limitation is our imagination. Other than that, it's an open field. And our thesis is that, if we had to take a crystal ball and sort of think about development path that we're quite confident about, is that the relevance of applications that are based on space-based technologies to problem sets on Earth will continue to increase and will increase exponentially, i.e., as we mature our technologies, space will provide us with the arena to imagine mechanism, solutions, business models to deploy models or businesses in space that allow us to provide solutions to problem sets on Earth. So space is fascinating, and through Space42, hence the combination of Bayanat and Yahsat, investors will have the opportunity to, in fact, participate in one of the largest companies in the world in terms of market capitalization in the space domain, one. Secondly, through Space42, we have now a model that is based on two proven companies that has demonstrated consistent growth, that have demonstrated profitability over the years, and being able to generate cash to sort of support their trajectory and support the aspirations of their investors. And equally important, now with a sort of a growing capability to expand beyond the realm of the region. And so the idea of global reach is front and center to our thought process. And thirdly is, for the first time, we have an opportunity to invest in the space industry that also is leveraging, I think, the formidable potential of AI, and where you can start thinking about accelerated developments, again, with a view to have greater and more meaningful impact on societies and economies, but importantly, do this in an accretive manner from an economic standpoint or a financial manner. So beneficial to the company, but also to its shareholder. So I would invite our investors, current and prospective investor, to think about these three sort of thrusts in terms of why Space42 matters.
That's great. So before we wrap up, is there any last words you have?
First of all, thank you for having me. And second, if you want to think about the future going forward, again, I would like to go to a point I've mentioned earlier. The relevance of space in terms of being the launch pad for creating innovative solutions to address our challenges and create new opportunity on Earth are up there for us to sort of imagine, to design, and to deliver. And if anything, the role of space will grow going forward. And the second parameter is AI is a fascinating field. The combination of space and AI is going to be quite unique. We consider that, in fact, Space42 is the answer to the question of what happens when you bring space and AI together. And my answer is it's going to be Space42, which is why from day one, we define our DNA as Space42 being an AI-enabled company. And so these are the two parting thoughts I would like to leave you with.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us and for a fascinating insight to Space42. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.